Yes. Perfect. And we can get started. Thank you all so much for being here. It's good to see some of your faces. My name's Emmy McDonald. I'm the Program Operations Manager at Handmade Arcade. I am here with my colleague Petra, who is the Education Coordinator at Handmade Arcade, and we are super, super excited to bring you the second session we have of our Crafted Conversation series. I am going to let LaShesia really introduce herself and talk a lot more about who she is and her expertise. But we are here today to learn about branding from LaShesia. She's going to talk about her journey on her business and sort of the tips and tricks that she has been able to um, pick up for branding through starting her business and growing it. I am a big fan of her business. I am never far from one of her products. I have something of hers in my office, in my bathroom, by my bed. I'm honestly such a fan. So I'm so excited to learn from you today, LaShesia. Please take it away. Audience, if you have any questions, please feel free to put anything you want in the chat. And then we'll also have a question and answer session at the end. So, a great part of being actually in this Zoom session is you can really ask LaShesia anything you'd like. So please utilize that. Put things in the chat. You can wait until the end to ask questions. And I will let you take it away. So thank you so much for being here, LaShesia, and I'm really excited to learn from you.
Oh, thank you so much. As Emmy mentioned, my name is LaShesia Holliday. I am the founder and chief mixologist of Bodily Love at Natural Beauty Supply, and we are going to talk about branding today. My segment is on the Butter Brand Blueprint. It's from handmade to high demand. So we're just going to dive into branding and why it's so important to do, and how you want your brand to be a household name. Give me 1 second. Can you hand me a body oil too, please? Thank you. All right. As we talked about, I am LaShesia, the founder of Natural Beauty Supply. I'm also a speaker, a author, and a brand educator. So we're going to go through what we're going to cover today. So we're going to go through what branding really is beyond the logo. Having a logo is a great first step for brand identity. You're going to define your brand identity, the look, the feel, the voice, making your brand instantly recognizable. We think about those brands who we know exactly who it is without there even being a logo or anything. You just know exactly who that brand is. Your personal presentation is part of your brand. Your consistency across products, packaging, and your socials, and intentional how intentional branding raises your perceived value, and real examples from Natural Beauty Supply. Okay, so branding is not just a logo. If somebody walked past, because we do vending and things, especially with Handmade Arcade in these markets. If someone walks past your table or they scroll through your Instagram, would they know it's you without seeing your name? So that's very important for you to be able to be recognizable without them seeing kind of anything. How it looks, the colors are important, your fonts, your logo, your packaging, your table setup, the photography style. You want to start to create like signature moments and things that you're known for. That's super important. Like consistency, like thinking about your photography. Are you consistently using a white background? Is there no background? Is it all lifestyle photos? So just really thinking about those things and getting granular with your branding. Also, how it feels. Is your brand luxe? Is it earthy? Is it playful? Is it royal? What emotions do you want to evoke in your customer, or I like to call them an avatar, whenever you're really trying to think about that, what you want to evoke out of the person who you want to purchase. And that's a completely different segment on like your customer and thinking about who they are and what they're going to buy and how they're going to buy and all of those things. But once you have that person, what do you want them to feel? And then the other thing is how your brand speaks. Is your brand funny? Is your brand warm? Is it educational? Is it confident? Your brand voice and your tone. So mine's, for instance, I go through a mixture of like educational things, but I also love a good joke. So I make sure that I have that in my branding and making sure that people see and understand is. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have great skin and all of these things, but we're definitely going to be warm and inviting, and also having that feeling of a luxury brand. So whatever it is that you are looking to convey, make sure that you're doing that in all things, like all of your messaging. So your brand in every detail. So your personal style is super important, and making sure that whenever you're showing up for your events, and like if you're speaking or what have you, even your day to day, like just really being intentional on how you're presenting yourself to the world. You're now not just a person, you are a brand. So thinking about those things, how is it that I'm showing up daily? But especially whenever you're going out and you're marketing, or you are vending, or doing marketplace or what have you. You want to make sure that your personal style is conveyed. So my brand colors are purple, black, gold, and I'll sprinkle in some white from now every now and then. But every event, I'm super intentional about what I have on my body. So even today, like with my hoodie, making sure that I am branded. I'm doing an event talking about branding, so I have to make sure that I am branded, and I'm making sure that I'm representing my brand. And I know as a fellow business owner, sometimes things can be tiresome. So, just making sure you have like a t shirt or maybe a hat or something that's showing off your brand. And I understand too that everybody's market is not, Lux and things like that. So whatever your brand is and whatever your business is and whoever the customer that you are trying to appeal to, make sure that you are doing things in that in line with that. Um, so product labels are super important, making sure they're cohesive, they have a readable font, they're in your brand colors, every single label, and also that your ingredients are on the label. That's not branding, but just making sure that people have allergies and things like that. So making sure that you're conveying and giving people the information that they need in order to be able to scan and look at something. Maybe I have a coconut allergy. Is there coconut oil in this? Okay. People do have different ailments and allergies. So making sure that it's clear and concise, and also that it's recognizable. Put your logo on everything. I know we said that logos aren't the end all be all, but putting your logo on everything, especially your labeling and things like that. So even if it's not huge, just making sure that it's there. This is our sugar shea butter. But just cohesive, making sure that things kind of flow together. So I know that, we all may have different businesses and things like that. However, if you have clothing, all of your tags are cohesive, making sure that if you have a more sustainable business, okay, what type of tags are you using? Are you using biodegradable or what have you, making sure that you are speaking to your customer on all facets. But just making sure you're cohesive. So like these labels are gonna complement these ones, and so have you. Um, um, Another thing that I do that is really um, been liked by my customer is handwritten notes. So whatever you're going to be known for, be consistent in that. So like whenever I ship out, it's not I don't do it when I'm at vending events because it's too busy. I may need to think about a way to maybe pre-write some handmade notes. That would be nice. However, whenever I'm shipping out, I send a thank you card, and I just write it right on the invoice. Thank you so much, whoever the person is. And then I also have been in business at this point for almost 9 years. So some of my customers I really have really good relationships with because they've been with me for a really long time. And another thing that I forgot to mention is that I don't really do any ads, like paid ads and things like that. So all of my marketing and all of my customers come from other customers or markets and things like that. So they've tried the product, they love the product, they love me. They see me and they're like, oh, okay, she's great. I want to buy from her. Then they buy from me and they're like, oh, the product is great too. And then they keep purchasing. So just really making sure that you understand that you are your brand. So even some of those days where we don't feel like, being super bubbly or whatever, throw a smile on, try, I get it. We're all human. And I am a social worker as well. So I get it that we don't always feel the bubbliness. But putting on that smile, it can go take you the extra mile. But yeah, making sure whatever it is that you're known for, so if you do handwritten notes or something else that you love doing and make and your customers love it too, because my customers mention that, like, oh, she takes the time out to write this note. So I know that they like that. So that's something that I want to continue. And also with your vendor table, making sure things are cohesive with your color coordination, your branding, your signage, the height variation of things. So if you have a lot of products like I do, you want to make sure that you're putting things at different levels so people are able to see um, like all of what you have. Sometimes it's too much to digest, right? So trying to break things up in a way that people are going to be able to shop. This isn't to do with branding necessarily. However, something that I do at events is I provide samples so they're able to touch and feel at an event, and it adds on to the experience, which is it is an extension of branding, but you don't necessarily have to do that. But if that's something that you're going to be known for, if you have baked goods and you always offer samples, things smell good. Oh my gosh, those cookies smell amazing, and you have a sample for it. So, boom, you may, create a customer. With your social media, what voice do you want to have? And it goes back to what we were talking about prior. Um, do you want it to be educational? Do you want it light and funny? Your brand voice is going to show up everywhere. My customers know that I will throw in a joke every now and again, especially if I see someone out and their skin is not doing what it needs to do, and I know that it can be better. I will talk about it. So, making sure that who you're trying to convey and who you're trying to get, they understand, your jokes and things like that, and your messaging overall. And then we were talking about this a bit in the social media and in the vending, your customer experience. Customers, they'll compliment you on things that they really like. So pay attention to those things, doing surveys, and there's different ways that you can gather information from your customer to kind of know what it is that they want. And then you're going to build that trust and that brand loyalty. Defining your brand identity. If your brand is unclear to you, it's going to be unclear to your customer and they're not going to buy. And that is something that you have to get very granular on in the beginning stages, and even if you're not in the beginning stages and you're kind of trying to still figure stuff out, go back and make sure that your brand is clear, because if it's not clear, anytime there's unclarity, just think about a time where you were scrolling and you seen something that you kind of were interested in, but it wasn't enough information and you kept scrolling. So that can happen. So making sure that you're doing what you need to do on the front end so that on the back end, whenever a customer runs across your product, they'll purchase or they'll continue to see it. I say that customers have to date you for a while. They have to keep seeing something, and then the more and more they see it, and then maybe their friend purchases or they've already purchased. So okay, now I'm gonna trust your brand enough to purchase. But figuring out what your vibe is. Is it luxe, high end? Is it soft and feminine? Is it natural and earthy, bold and loud? Are you a minimalist and you want everything super clean? Is it playful and fun? So just understanding what your brand is and how it talks to people. That's really, really important. It'll come across in your messaging, in your branding, and then in your socials. Like, how are you speaking to your customer? How are you educating them? So, just making sure that that is at the front of mind at all times. Ours is light, funny, and educational. And we talked about this a little bit. Consistency does build trust. Confusion kills sales. Consistency creates recognition. So making sure your product labels are good. They should all match your brand. Your packaging and shipping should all match your brand. All of these things, like, it should be cohesive across the board. We talked a bit about what I do with like my packaging. And then also I'm known for, I don't have one right here, but I'm known for my gold packaging whenever I ship out products. Do you have one, Emmy? Is that what you are? Okay. But yeah,
I'm looking.
okay, I'm known for my gold packaging. And I put cute stickers and stuff on the outside, but it helps for brand recognition. People know, okay, I've ordered something from Naptural, so I'm expecting that cute gold package to come in the mail. It's like, think of Willy Wonka and the golden ticket. Like, you got something great in the mail. So creating an experience for your customers. And then whenever I have to ship out, like in boxes, I make sure that I'm putting my logo on the box and the note and things. So just from start to finish, having an experience with your branding. With my website, it automatically generates like a thank you email, and it'll send them um, information about like coupons and different things like that. However, it'll still, that's a part of your branding, right? Like, what are you doing to re-engage with that customer? How are you giving them the information and also keeping yourself top of mind? Your vending table, again, should be cohesive and match your brand. Um, if you are a brand, I've seen those really nice wooden crates, like, and they'll use those to like stack. We talked about varying levels of product. But whatever your brand is and however it is that you want to come off, just make sure that you're being consistent in that. And the same with your social media and your personal presentation. So your table is your storefront at these markets. So just making sure, ask yourself, would you stop at your table? If there's too much stuff on your table, or if there's not enough stuff on your table, and it looks like, you're going to run out, maybe I don't want to be the person who comes up to your table, because then I feel pressured to purchase because there's only one more product left. So just thinking about those things, that making it enough that, people will stop, but also you don't want to, I don't pressure people to purchase. Like, I just kind of make it open and flowing. So you want to do these things. You want to match your table linens and display your brand colors, use height variation and create levels. That's really important. Like especially the way that our minds and our eyes look at things. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. You want your best sellers at eye level. So those things that you know fly off the shelves. One of my super popular products at Handmade Arcade is my healing hand balm. So the balms. So I make sure that those are at eye level because I know that people are looking for those because I've been at markets before. Um, Including your brand signage with your logo and handle. So making sure that you're able to be reached again. How is it that you can stay with your customer? So making sure that they follow you. Do you want to do a raffle or something so that people will follow you? Something to engage with your potential buyers because sometimes people don't buy yet. They have to date you. Um, and adding your personal touches. So, like we talked about with the handwritten notes. And these are some pictures from some markets that I did with the August Wilson. Things that you don't want to do. We talked about overcrowding your table. Breathing room looks more expensive. It gives like a more of a luxe vibe. Using random colors that clash with your brand. Hiding your best products in the back. Skip lighting. Lighting does matter, even outside. I learned that at a night market. You want to make sure that you are well lit and that people can see you because if they can't, they're going to walk past your table. And as a fellow entrepreneur slash solo mom slash social worker and all of the things in between, all of the titles that I hold, time is the only thing that you can't get back, right? You can get money back. Like there's other things that can come back to you, but your time you don't want to waste. So make sure that whenever you are going to these events, you're intentional on the front end so that you can make them as successful as possible. Um, and you don't want to show up without your branded bags or tissue. Now, I don't complete transparency. I don't use branded bags. Sometimes I will. What I will do is and if you're on a budget, getting bags that are not branded but putting your logo on them with a sticker. You can do that as well. Um and I use clear bags personally because somebody may see what the other person has and ask questions. So intentional about branding. That's a way to market as well without having to do much of anything. And then you don't want to neglect your personal presentation at the table. You are important because you are the person selling things. So I know, sometimes we're solo entrepreneurs and we have to eat and things like that. Maybe having something up that you can kind of take a bite and, get back to whatever it is that you're doing or having to step away for a minute and coming back to it. But just thinking about your presentation, if you're down in your phone, and I get to that things happen, you may be doing something important, maybe stepping to the side so that people can look and not feel like they are interrupting or bothering you. But if you're kind of, bored and you're doom scrolling, try not to do those things because you are at work essentially. And you are a part of the brand. How you show up matters just as much as your packaging. I can't stress that enough. If you are a luxe brand, high end, like Natural Beauty Supply, dress elevated and polished, speak with confidence. And I think that regardless of where you see your brand, still feel like you should speak with confidence, regardless of how you want your brand to come off. Because if you're not confident and you're like stumbling over your words and things like that, it can come off like you are not educated on what you make and you make it. So you are educated on that thing. So just be confident in that. Um, if your packaging feels premium, you should too. So whatever that looks like, mine's is purple, gold, and black every single time. You will see some sort of variation of that. If your brand is natural and earthy, you want to wear warmer tones in your wardrobe, linens, earth colors, approachable energy. Let the ingredients tell the story. So if you are a woodworker, and I'm just picking that, like, if you have some natural ingredients, natural items that you use to make those things, and just kind of start telling the story, just talking to people, having those open conversations. I have greenery at my table a lot of times because it pulls people in, and it makes the space inviting. And making sure, like, I have um, for instance, I have lavender at my table. I use lavender in my products. So it's that recognition of this is in that product. Um, if your brand is bold and playful, show your personality. Bright colors, big energy, fun conversation. Let your enthusiasm be your biggest marketing tool. And I can't stress that enough. You are your brand. So just making sure that you're coming off and conveying yourself in a way that you could be understood. Um, let's see. Make sure you're branded online too. Your profile aesthetic, your grid should feel like your brand at first glance. Colors, warmth, consistency. Something that helped me with my grid, and um, I will be completely transparent. I'm not the most consistent poster. However, what I do post is always branded. Now, something to help me, I was asked to like screenshot my grid so that I can create like a reel or something. And then it helped me to look at my brand in that screenshot. What does it look like? Is it all over the place? Are there 50 flyers and you can't even tell which your brand is? And then whenever you do have to market and things like that, you can hide those things from your actual feed, and they still show up and they're still posting and things like that. So just thinking about things like that, like because sometimes where we are um, vending or marketing for, it doesn't necessarily match our brand. So you can post it in your stories. Like, there's different ways in which you can still heavily market and make sure that it's also branded. And some organizations will give you their logo or like a blurb and things that you could add to your marketing, so then it's still cohesive. So thinking things like in those ways, making sure your voice, it sounds like yourself and your brand, being consistent, not corporate, light, funny, educational. I mean, and if that is your brand, if it is a corporate thing, then making sure it's consistent. You can't be corporate, 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 and then you throw out a joke. It kind of throws people off. Although now I am seeing a lot of organizations and like restaurants and stuff. They're being a lot funnier now, and it's, I like it. I can't say that I don't like it. However, um, I haven't seen them kind of switch back to total corporate. It's like now this is where their brand is moving. So you can, um, change your avatar. You're like, okay, this is who we're marketing to now. And now we're shifting into this. Your photo style, we talked about that at the beginning. Backgrounds, lighting, your props should all align with your brand every single time. Your bio and your handle are important. Tell them who you are and what you sell in 2 seconds, because I cannot stress this enough. People's attention span is so short, especially now that we live in a world of reels and things like that. And I could just get content digested in a second flat. So make sure that whatever it is that you're trying to convey, you get it to them immediately. Cut out all the fluff and just say what you need to say. Your DMs and comments, respond in a way that your brand would. Mine's is warm, quick, and on brand. Every reply is your brand, so just be mindful of that, even if it's a customer that is, testing your patients or what have you. You want to make sure that you understand that we also live in a world of social media and someone can screenshot. Bad news travels so much faster than good news. And so just being mindful of that anytime. And I'm not perfect, I'm human. There's no such thing as a perfect person. However, anytime that there has ever been an error that has been made within Naptural, I rectify it immediately. And that is what my customers know that they can trust. Or if it's something that is outside of my control, um, USPS, it's like they hate me sometimes. Like they break things, things come, like literally leak out and all of these things. But I, make sure that if I'm made aware of it, then I fix that issue. And then I just deal with USPS. But yeah, so those things are super important. Your branding, perceived value, um, equal higher prices. You can potentially charge more off depending on how your brand is perceived. Um, 7 seconds. We talked about how short attention spans are nowadays. 7 seconds is all you have to make a first impression at a market. People are walking by very quickly, and a lot of them are doing like maybe two swoops through because they want to see what everyone has before they make a decision. You want them to make a decision on that first swoop because there's so many people at the markets. You want to make sure that you are the person that gets that dollar. And I know that people come with the intention to spend money, but nobody's money is infinite unless we're, millionaires. So you want to be mindful of those things to make your brand just insatiable. They have to get it right then and there. Um, and 3 times more likely to buy from brands they recognize. So customers buy from people they know, and also customers buy from people. So if you make yourself personable, if you just show your personality, if you are a naturally personable person, they're going to likely buy from you. And one detail can be what a customer remembers and tells their friends about you. And if you guys remember from the beginning, I stated I don't do ads. My customers will share things. They advocate for me, so I don't necessarily have to. So it's helpful to build up that relationship with your customers. Strong branding means customers don't just buy your product; they buy into your world. You're creating a um, a world for them, and what does that look like, and what do you want that to look like? You think about all of the really big brands that they create this lifestyle around their brand, and that's what you're purchasing that lifestyle. So this is your before your next market checklist, so you can run through this before you show up. My table matches my brand colors. My products look cohesive, same label and style. My signage is clear with my logo and handle. My pricing is visible on every single item. Now, I will say with this, that's something that you can do like a price list or something like that. Like if you have a bunch of products, and I think that would matter. It matters to certain customers. It absolutely does, but it doesn't always matter to some customers. They like it, and I don't care what the price is. I just want it. However, if you have those customers who are wanting to look around, okay, real quick, I seen that body butter was $20, so I'm going to come back around, or I'm going to grab it real quick because I'm right here. My outfit aligns with my brand vibe. I've looked around the markets and I see this done really, really well. Like whatever their brand is, it's cohesive. So just make sure that you're doing that. I have branded bags or tissue for purchases, or something, to make sure that you are giving your customer um, you. So whatever that is. So if you want to get the branded bags, I would absolutely say get those branded bags. Make sure you have like a QR code or something where they can follow you, a way that they can get in touch with you, and vice versa. Um, my energy is welcoming, and I'm ready to engage. You have a way to capture customer info. I jumped the gun a little bit on that. And my brand is easy to understand at a glance. So if they look at your brand, if they look at your table, rather, can they see right off the bat what it is that you sell and not be confused? And I have my signature touch ready. That handwritten note or whatever it is that is something that is yours, you have that right there ready. Branding turns your product into a business. Look, if you look like a brand, not just a vendor, you're going to be intentional about every single touch point. Your signature details are your superpower. And we do have a get the brand starter kit. It's available on our website if you want more information, but this will be living on the Handmade Arcade's website, so you'll be able to come back to this whenever you have questions or anything like that, or if you need to come back and listen to anything. But that'll be a step-by-step vendor branding guidebook for product-based businesses. And does anybody have any questions? I feel like I talked forever. And
Thank you so much for that, LaShesia. That was
you're
amazing.
welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
that
people
was
can unmute, exactly. There you go.
Yeah,
yeah, that was amazing. That was a great presentation. I loved it.
thank you.
So I have a few questions. My
Mhm,
first one is, so in your when you first started your business, was
mhm.
your branding the way it is now, or did you go through several iterations before you landed on your colors and your logo?
That is a great question. So my logo was the same. Um, it did take me a while to land on the like fonts and things like that that I wanted. But my logo was the same. And actually, my business was Natural Hair Boutique initially, and then I changed it to Natural Beauty Supply because I wanted to make sure that people understood that I did not sell hair. Because a lot of people were like, "Oh, you have extensions." I'm like, "That would be great, but I don't." So I wanted to make sure again they're not confused. Okay, she's Natural Beauty Supply. She has some sort of beauty supply products. What do you have? So it's kind of all encompassing. So to your point, no, I had the logo, but then I had to build up to that. And it's totally okay to have to figure that piece out, because I did. I went through a couple different um, iterations of what it is that I wanted. And then I finally settled on what it is that I wanted. And then I'll go with that.
Mm.
And then my
And
next question was, when you first started, how did you start generating sales if you weren't doing advertising? Was it just one sale at a time and that person told somebody else, or was it
mhm.
more markets? Did you partner with any kind of other businesses?
So it was a combination of both actually. So it was going out and doing all of these different markets, and it's my customers initially, my very going all the way back to whenever I started. My customers were my friends and family, right? Initially. And then friends and family started to purchase it. And then it was like, oh, okay, I like this thing. Let me tell somebody about this thing. And then it just grew and snowballed in that way. But it was also doing the markets as well and continuously getting my brand in front of eyes. So, yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
I wanted to ask a question if
Mhm.
it's okay.
Yes.
You have great email campaigns and email
Thank you.
advertising, and I feel like I got to see your brand at the markets, and then I really feel like I got to know and understand your brands through a lot of those email
Mhm.
campaigns that you do. And I
Yeah.
wonder if you could just talk about, like, have you always been doing that? Like, where did you find the time to do that? How, like, is that something you usually prioritize? Is that easy for you? Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I feel like I
Yes.
get to hear so much of your voice through that, and yeah, would love to
Mhm.
know how you kind of figured out like, okay, that's what I need to be doing in order to reach my sort of clientele.
Yes, that's a great question, Emmy. So I have, whenever I started Natural, I started um it wasn't like right when I started, but I started collecting emails almost immediately. Like whenever I started, and I started figuring out different ways that I could do it. Okay, I'm doing a raffle. If you enter into this raffle, you have to give me your information, but you could possibly win this thing. And I would do lives and show, whatever it was that they won, whether it be a product, whether it be a gift card or what have you to Natural, but just having that moment of engagement to bring them in. Hey, come on in. Let's chat. Let's sit down. And then with the email marketing, now I have the emails in order to be able to send them out. And now it's almost second nature. Whenever I am at an event, I automatically am collecting emails. And it also, I pose it to my customer that if you give me your email, then I also know what you purchased and I can go back and look at what you purchased. Because a lot of times at events, sometimes you'll have people who come in town just for these events or purchase every year the same thing at the same event. So if you give me your information, I know that you bought the peppermint fluff butter last Christmas, and this Christmas you want peppermint fluff again. But also sending out that email to remind them that, hey, peppermint fluff is coming back in stock. You know you like that, so make sure you meet me here or purchase it online. But yes, I don't I can't remember. I don't know if it was a sales class or something that I went to, and they stressed email marketing. I had done so much research prior to me starting my business that I can't remember exactly where I figured out that that was super important. But um, to answer your question, the other part of your question, because there's so much that happens in my life, I do automation a lot with email. So there are some that come out automatically, but there are the like whenever I'm doing the different sales and things like that, I may sit down and do a campaign and just sit and do those. But some of those are sporadic, like, oh wait, I haven't talked to my audience in a while. Hey, let me just re-engage with them and just say hey. And um, it's something that it has been tried and it's true. So I just continue to do it. I hope that answered your question.
That it totally did. Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, I've got some.
Mhm,
So you and I are kind of in a similar space. So I make all natural hair care products, and
great.
shea butter is one of my
Mhm.
primary ingredients. And so I wanted to ask you, when you're at markets, do you feel like you have to do a lot of education on the background and the ingredients of your project? Do you get questions like that, or is it more just this is the result, here's what it does, and kind of they decide from there? Is there a lot of kind of education that goes on first?
Yes. So great question, Keith. How long have you been in business?
So I just started January, about a year or so research and development, but then just officially
Mhm.
launched this past January.
Okay. So how many markets would you say you've done so far?
None so far. This
None so
uh,
far. Okay.
this August one will be my first one.
Okay.
Keith
Awesome.
is in our
So,
BIPOC Maker Accelerator program.
oh,
Yeah,
nice.
so he's gonna
Congratulations.
do both Tamara and Keith are, so they'll both be doing the emerging craft market in August and then the holiday market. And
Yay.
so yeah,
Okay. Okay.
we're really excited.
Yes, this is super exciting. So, yes, so to answer your question, it for you, more than likely it's going to be both, right? Because you're educating people on what you have because they don't know you. So people buy from who they trust, right? So make sure that you have things at your table that are going to give that educational piece. Do you already have testimonials? If you do, then make sure, like, sit them out, in a whatever way. in which you brand and market. So whatever that looks like for you, do that, but make sure that you have things out that people can kind of get their questions answered. Yes, they're going to still ask you questions because they're not familiar with your business. And for me, it depends on the market, to be completely honest. There are some markets that I do every year that people know me, so they don't ask a lot of questions. They're asking what's new, what don't I have, things like that. So whenever you get to that point and you're doing a market consistently, then those kind of questions kind of go away. But if you're doing a new market, they're going to have a lot of questions. Oh, well, what is this? What does this do? And you may have people who are asking questions who are never going to buy, to be honest. And then you have people who are asking questions because they're trying to understand for clarity because they do want to buy and they want to make sure that this thing is going to work for them. Like at the handmade arcade market, for instance, I have a couple customers who have came up and we've had long, good conversation around eczema and what that looks like and their kid has it and or they have it and what's going to work well for their skin. Oh, okay, this is the balm and this is my eczema butter and these are why these things work. And once they have the educational piece, okay, great, I'm purchasing. And then I had one, she literally put it on her baby while she was walking around and then came back and ran to me like her skin has never been so soft. So you want to be able to get those questions so you can get the reactions and things like that. And that's another thing too that I do with my branding, that if a customer comes up to me and they're like ecstatic, I try to find a way to either record it in that moment or ask them for a testimonial. Like I had a customer, I seen her in and I mean I don't know if you seen it on my Instagram. We were both randomly at a rest stop leaving Harrisburg and not supposed to see each other. Well, I guess we were supposed to see each other. However, weren't planning on seeing each other, I'll say. And I just happened to see her and I was just saying hey because it's one of my customers and it's also someone who I know. We both have businesses. So she got so excited to see me because she was in the Starbucks line and she was like, the young lady just asked me what I was wearing and you're right here. And I was telling her all about what I have on. And so you create and cultivate those good relationships with people whenever you're able to be there and they ask you questions and things like that. And then she had gone to a conference and somebody else had said something, so she was super excited to see me and I just started recording. Oh well, and it sold that product because it's a real person saying her real testimony. Like this isn't something that I paid her to do or anything. She just really likes the product. So I hope all of that answers your question because you're going to have both, and especially whenever you first start, and it can be cumbersome, it can be exhausting to kind of keep going and keep answering those questions. So I would say try to make sure you have things that can answer some of those questions, but some of it has to come from you.
Okay. And then I had two more questions. I know we're almost at
Mhm.
time. So my one question is, how did you decide on how many SKUs or how many products you were going to provide? Like, and I heard you say you have a peppermint product, you got an eczema product, you got a balm. How did you land on, okay, this is going to be my entire product line? And then how much of that do you take to the market with you, and how do you decide that? And then the second part of my question is, how do you, when you're at these markets like the handmade arcade, how do you break down that racial barrier for people who want to buy from you and they're seeing you as a black woman selling this product and saying,
Mhm.
is this product for me?
Yes. Okay. So these are great questions. Not necessarily branding, but these are great questions. So to answer your question, the racial barrier thing, there's been a lot of times where I am in places where I'm like, maybe what I mean, that this wasn't necessarily my market. So you start to learn what your market is and where your product will sell. And these don't come from anything but kind of trial and error and like trusting your gut. Um, and even full transparency with Handmade Arcade, I've seen it was Handmade Arcade that made me come and do the markets because they said, hey, we see that our demographic is not, servicing people of color, blacks, Latinas, Latinx, what have you, and we want to change that. So that to me said, oh, okay, I am welcome here. Let me come and let me try this market. And they started to um, do things and promote black and brown businesses and things like that. So that gave me the comfortability to come to the market, but it absolutely was intimidating with as it pertains to someone picking up your product and saying, what is this? I can't use this because I'm white. And it's like, no, actually, we all have skin, so we all can use it. And just talking to them about those things. Like, of course, like even with because I have a hair oil, and it's based off of my daughter Taylor. She was born severely premature. She was bald whenever she was born. I mixed oils to help her grow. Now she has a head full of hair. So, um, even the customers who don't necessarily have the hair texture that can hold oil, they can do hot oil treatments, and there's other ways in which they can use the product. You kind of have to help them see it through. And then with me, I um, especially with these types of markets, you have people who have transracial adoptions. So they have a child that is black or a brown child, and they're trying to figure out how they work with their hair. So then that's a completely different market. And those people are seeking out products and things for their children because they want to make sure that they're servicing the best. They love them with all their being, right? But they want to make sure that they're doing the things that are going to help their children. So having that educational piece there, yeah. So yes, to answer your question, yep, it's going to be intimidating. Can you get through it? Also, yep. And then you had another question, and I can't remember
Uh,
the full part of it. What was the other one?
it was how did you land on how many different service lines or products that you were gonna make and carry, and how you decide how much like what you're gonna take to the market and how much you're gonna display?
So I typically have conversations with the um market, like whoever's in charge. Like, hey, what have I ask these questions to oh, her name escapes me from Handmade Arcade, but I asked these questions to her. Hey, how many people typically come to these markets? Specifically with the black vendors that you had in the past, what were their sales like? How many products did they sell? Like I asked very specific, granular questions, and that's not marketing or branding. That's product. Your research. You're doing your business research, trying to figure out what's going on, how many products do I need, what is this going to look like, how many days is this event. But those are questions that you need to ask whatever market you're going to, and then you deciding for yourself. And then for me, as far as products, I try to base it off of my demographic. Okay, so what do I think is going to happen at this market? And then once I've done it and I'm doing it again, then I can look back at my data that I've already gained from doing this market and then say, okay, I need these products because these products sold well. And then maybe I'm going to try this product and see because this is similar to this and see how good it sells at this market. So yeah, that's all research.
Okay. Thank you. This has been a great session. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope you do amazing. What type of products? I know you said hair products, but what type of products specifically do you have?
Yeah. So I have a I would call it a leave-in conditioner
Hmm.
product. So it's called Shea Complete. And then I
Hmm.
have a beard product as well. And then I have a hair oil, a shine like it's like a shine finishing oil.
Okay, your the first one that you talked about, is it emulsified or is it like like shea butter um whipped, or is it like a emulsification?
So a little bit of both actually. So it's
Hmm.
shea butter mixed with a little bit of mango butter, and then it also has mineral oils in there as well. So like
Mhm.
sweet almond oil, marula oil. We also have like jojoba oil in the beard product as well.
Mhm.
So a butter and oil mixture.
Gotcha. So, do you have testimonials and things like that, like people who have tried the product and really love it?
I don't have them recorded. I have people who've
Okay.
like and I've tried to get them recorded, but it's
Mhm.
like I don't want to keep pestering them, but
Right.
I've asked them multiple times and they haven't done it, but they love the product. It's just a matter of can you please leave me a review kind of thing.
Review. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. And that kind of is was marketing. So, whatever you're using, like as far as your sales platform, there are ways to like automate things so then you don't have to pester them. It will pester them. The system will. So then you don't have to feel bad about asking them 76 times for that review. Something else will. So I would suggest looking into your automation and just seeing how you can do that for you. What platform do you use currently?
So I have my own website that I built on Hostinger,
Okay.
and then I also use Instagram. I tried to partner with a company called Social Cat to use micro influencers, but that hasn't
Mhm.
panned out just yet.
Yeah, they keep asking me do I want to do something with them, but then
Yeah.
they that's a story for another day because they'll like say, "Hey, we have something free," and then I say, "Sure," and then they don't get back to me. So, but
Yeah.
whatever. Um, but I know you're using a platform that you've built. Is there something in your coding that you can add a automation to like send them an automatic email to ask for that thing?
Yeah, I believe there's a email setting to where it'll trigger like like 7 days after their purchase is
Mhm.
completed, it'll ask them for a review. But I don't know if it
Yeah.
sends a reminder. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, because you wanted to keep reminding them. And that's something too that I think is super important, making sure that you're on a platform that is for like that's going to help you with whatever your business is. So like how there's like Gloss Genius for stylists. And that is a platform that is specifically for stylists and it helps them with their automation. So making sure that you're on the right platform, I would do a little research on that just to see if you're on the best platform for your product-based business.
And which one? What do you use?
That's a story for another day. It's like I use Shopify. You want all
So
my secrets.
I'm noticing we're right at time here. I want to wrap up, but Tamara, did you have a question? I don't know. I know
No,
you.
you all just hit on it. I wanted to ask her about the automation piece of that.
Great.
Mhm,
And so using Shopify. Okay, got you.
mhm.
I was
Yep, and
curious.
I'll send you guys my link because you should get a discount. Like if you do decide to switch, um, I'll send you a link.
I can connect everyone on
Okay.
that if you wanna send it to me, or I can
Yep.
give you their emails or anything
Mhm.
like that. But LaShesia, wanted to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you everyone who came to the presentation. This will be recorded, and like LaShesia said, we'll have slides. So if you want to refer back to this at any point in time, you can do that either by recording or just looking right at those slides. We will be back in July for another crafted conversation, so encourage everyone to join that. We'll get more details on that a little bit later. But LaShesia, thank you so much for your
You are
wisdom and your
welcome.
time and answering these questions. And I hope everyone has a really enjoyable night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.
See ya.
Thank you.